Welcome everyone and welcome to All In, All United.
Remember the comment he made?
I comment on varsity.
Run Ryan.
And the other thing, you have players out there.
I think the fellas were taken more serious.
What grade?
That one. Yes, because at the end of the day, right now, Manchester United.
Hey, good night, and welcome to All in All United. First game for Ruben Amorim, coming from Portugal, coming from Sporting into the Premier League, playing the 18th place team. And I'm sure you wish he was back in Sporting after just one performance. Gents, so you see JP, Phil, Simeon, what's going on?
Cool. The thing is, right? I not too mad because
Yeah.
after just what 2 sessions with the team, the man was brave enough to say he going with what he know. He didn't say, you know what, these fellas know this normal 4-2-3-1 formation, and this is why I going with. He was like, this is what I know. They had to learn it. And if they had to learn it the hard way, let them learn it the hard way. So I good. I ain't too upset with it.
Phil?
Yeah. Good night, everyone. Ruben Amorim, you saw from today what you'll be getting yourself into. You definitely have some players that will listen to you. You have some players that definitely will do their own thing. So I'm looking forward to see how you will handle both scenarios, right? Players that listen to you, will you continue to start them or will you bench them? Or players, I'm saying for the players that don't listen to you, will you continue to play them or will you bench them as well too, right? I'll leave it there for now and then we'll talk more on the pod about it.
Yeah, Simeon?
No, I mean, there's so much to get into, man. But I love the difference between Amorim before the match, all week the man smiling, the man good, the man talking, and during the match, the man looking like he's stressed out. The man watching you feel like, what are you doing? Like, I looked at it, I just laughed when I saw him on the bench. They just looking for us, like, what are you doing? They say what we practice. So, I mean, I think he was hired, a week or 2 ago, but I feel like the job now starts today. Like today, he know.
In for a job,
Yeah,
If he thought he was coming and riding the Van Nistelrooy wave, that wave crash. The moment Van Nistelrooy leave the building, that wave crash, and he's definitely got to build his own momentum, with this team and with this formation, So we have a few guys on the inside, so we get some of the comments. Hey Chris, good night, man, on the YouTube platform. All I have to say is that some of these players lack common sense. Right? Hey Kian, good night, man. Long time. Nice to have you on the inside. Good night to you too. Eric Lewis, good night, fellas. Thank God for Onana today. Right? Arun on the inside as well. Good night to you guys. Yeah. So we get into it one time, because as Simeon said, we might have plenty to touch on that. So I guess the big talking point is, the starting lineup today, and what is your thoughts on the starting lineup? And if you want to talk about the performances of the players in the lineup today, you could go ahead. You could do that one time. So, Simeon, I'll kick off with you.
I mean, it's so much to get into. I mean, it really is. I mean, you look at the things that I saw, the things that the guys calling the game saw, the things that Amorim saw. I mean, you saw the midfield with Eriksen and Casemiro, who kind of struggled today. I mean, we know Eriksen and Casemiro midfield will struggle, but they really did show. You wondered why some guys didn't start like Ugarte. You wondered if international break, some guys couldn't really play today. So that's one thing. You think that Amorim was, talk about, Canacho and, Dallo, how Dallo wasn't, in the spot he needs to be. And it's so much things that, you saw with this the starting lineup and this team playing that we saw, also what the coach was seeing. Because I ain't really that familiar with the system. I don't know who's supposed to be where. Where you could see the coach on the sideline, like visibly upset with people, like you're ain't where it's supposed to be. So, for me, that was a good and bad. I'm glad he's actually trying to fix it, while he's out there. But you have people who, who not taking care of the ball properly. Look at Bruno. He had a decent game, but he's careless sometimes for the ball. Cannot show as well, and he's so many things that he was talking about. So, he watches subs he made, after 65 minutes, 50 minutes. So, you saw so much. There was so much going on that, it's kind of hard to put your finger on one thing.
Yeah, Phil. And guys in the comments, feel free to comment on, what it's about the lineup and maybe who you think fits the lineup and who you think definitely don't fit the lineup. But Phil, you take it out.
It was I was asking if Lisandro Martinez got a knock on international break. I wasn't sure.
If he didn't go, he went to Argentina. He got I think a back injury.
Oh yeah,
and and he came back to Old Trafford.
Right. So based on the lineup, I'm glad to see Ahmad start. Let's get that out there. Ahmad has been working his socks off this season, and once again today he worked his socks off as well. On the terms of Johnny Evans next to Delict, too slow. Definitely too slow. I definitely want to see if Lisandro Martinez can play there. Delict definitely is slowly but surely sliding into that category of that's one player I don't have to worry about, right? He's there with Mazrari. Mazrari is one player that played well today. I don't have to talk about him, right? Just move on from him. Yeah, that midfield of Casemiro and Eriksson, I'm not a big fan of. Both were pretty slow, but not Casemiro. Eriksson was definitely doing a job today as well, taking the ball off of opposition players' feet, looking to make plays happen. I was really upset with Garnacho today. I was. Too many breakaways, and the ball is getting taken away from him, and it's all about decision making, right? He's still young, and you have to definitely coach him into making better decisions, right? If not, he will find himself on the bench. And most of us on the panel, or if not all of us on the panel, can agree that Garnacho is more of an impact player, right? Bring him off of the bench and he'll play better, right? I'm glad to see Marcus Rashford got on the score sheet today, based on the criticism he was getting because he was in the US watching a game. I'm like, bruv, why you criticizing players just because they travel to another country just to watch another game? At the end of the day, they have lives outside of football, right?
But I could also agree to a bit to what was Gary Neville's point of view. I don't know if you heard it when he was talking about a new manager coming in. You want to be on top of your game. You want to be firing, not having even jet lag in a system.
Yeah, but having 5 days off isn't going to change much, right? Whether you're on vacation or just chilling for 5 days versus if you are training for 5 days, nothing much is going to change, right? The season is not even at the halfway point, right? So you have another 2-3 months to then kind of like say, you know what, let me pull my socks up and try to impress this manager, right? But in terms of where was I going with this here? Garnacho definitely needs to be coached with decision making. Johnny Evans, I don't think can handle a fast pace opposition team, because if we're going to play a kind of a high line, I don't think Johnny Evans will suit that high line, nor Harry Maguire. So if we can have a back three of Mazrari, Delit, and either Euro or Martinez, that would definitely suffice, right? What else? In terms of the performance today, wasn't impressed. Was not impressed. We got a goal. We got a goal in the first 81 seconds, and then I cannot remember what was the next shot we had on target, or if we ever threatened their goalkeeper. Right? Bruno did Bruno things today, and he's gonna have to cut that out under the new manager. He's definitely gonna have to cut that out. I don't think I want to see I don't want to see Bruno and Casemiro on the same pitch, because they do almost the exact same thing. They give away the ball, right? I want to see Ugarte, Ericsson, Menu, unfortunately Bruno. But today, just to wrap up and give you guys a chance to analyze the game as well. Today seemed like a friendly that was serious, if that makes sense, right? When it comes to like preseason friendlies, like, it doesn't have some severity to it. You just want to see what the players can do, get them warm up, right? But today was like a serious friendly, right? Because we saw the likes of Luke Shaw coming on, saw the likes of Mason Mount making a return as well too, Xerxes and Hoyland being subbed on as well too, right? So today was like a serious friendly. And hey, Ruben Amorim, you definitely have your work cut out for you. It's not Sporting Lisbon anymore, right? And I'll talk more about it, but I'll let you guys chime in.
Yeah, JP, line up, and wait till maybe some of the performances, especially in the first half.
Oh, sorry. Special shout out to Andre Onana. I think he was man of the match as well. So sorry.
Yeah. We definitely see the Onana down on your your handle there. So yeah, Onana definitely shout out to Onana today. JP?
Yeah. And the a lot of the team picked itself based on like the time players arrived and injuries and things like that. So I think the Johnny Evans in the back, we didn't have a choice with it, but I think today was the first time that Johnny Evans looked his age in this team since he came back. It was, and I think what didn't help him was he was on the same side as Dalot and Garnacho, and they were horrible defensively in that first half. They were nothing like Hutchinson was doing what he wanted with them, and then Evans was just the last man trying to deal with it, and Hutchinson tricky, he quick, and they're trying to play the high line. So I think it was the first time for me that Evans really didn't fit the system. As I say in the start, I think it was brave of Amorim, and I give him credit for going with the system that he wants to play one time. Because it could have been very easy for him to just set up the team in a way that they comfortable playing. But he wants to do what he wants to do with his team. He wants to stamp his authority. And even listening to him after the game too, you get a sense of what he did today. He didn't have much time. Players have to get used to the system that he's trying to implement. Definitely Casemiro and Ericsson cannot work. Cannot work at all in our midfield, because the first half in particular, the kind of space. I saw Casemiro samba in the midfield, and the man was doing samba because he twists one way to go to one man, and had to twist another because he had nobody next to him in the midfield. Right? So he alone was trying to cover the whole midfield because Ericsson up the road and taking his time coming back. And that's one of the main things Amorim talk about this team, is in getting back when we don't have people. Right? As Phil said, we don't have to mention Manswari and Dylan reaching to that place as well. Two players who know what you're getting from them. I am not a big fan of the Trini back. I will say this up front. I don't really care for it, because when you play Trini back, you have to play wing backs. And these players not used to proper possession-based football. If you're playing wing backs, you have to be able to possess the ball, because then your wing backs doing more defending and attacking. And we saw what Ahmad can do and what he did today when he was able to go forward. But for most of the game, because we didn't have the ball, he was spending a lot of time behind the half line. So you're not getting the best out of your best players in this system right now. And that is my main concern with
So what if we play what if so JP, what if we play regular wing backs like Mazrari on the right, Dallo or Shaw on the left, and maybe Bruno and Ahmad just
behind it.
behind
Yeah.
behind striker.
That's
You would prefer that?
yeah. I would prefer that because I don't
Yeah.
want unless you have like a I think that like this is a Antonio Valencia role. You want somebody to play as that wing back. He could have played a whole side by himself. He didn't need help. I think Maswari is a player capable of that. He could do that job well as a wing back. But you want somebody like Ahmad closer to be a goal threat. Because I think that is where because we weren't keeping the ball. And I think that's the two main things that Amorim talk about, and we saw it today. With his system, they have to be able to run back. They have to be able to hold on to the ball. In the first half, in the earlies, I started to see little sensible things. But with these players, they're so not coached. After two sessions, we can't expect miracles. They're so not coached that you saw how easy it was for them to revert to a bad pass and kick up the ball up the road. You ain't know what to do. You can't keep the ball. It's so Amorim have his work cut out for him. And I think I want to believe the players we have could fit his system once they're properly coached. But I wouldn't say too much about individual performances. I think that's just my take on what I saw for this new team, this new setup.
Yeah. So we have money inside. So I can touch on my thoughts on the lineup. So definitely, I didn't see the Mazwari going into the right centre back, to be honest. I think that was definitely surprising for me. The midfield of Casemiro and Ericsson, again, by the moment I saw it, I don't know that we have nobody in the midfield, to really win that ball. And even if Casemiro put in the work, he can't consistently do the work like how Ugarte will do the work in the midfield. And with this system what we playing, you need somebody in that midfield that when we lose the ball, that we could able to win it back. And we didn't have that today at all with Ericsson and Casemiro. We were not getting a foot close to the Ipswich midfielders, which is a team 18th in the Premier League. And we couldn't get close. Our midfield players couldn't get close.
Say it one more time. We couldn't get close. We couldn't get close.
We couldn't get close.
And that's the whole part, yeah.
And I know we talk about Garnacho on the left side. And let me say if we talk about Ahmad on the right. But to me, Ahmad was doing what he had to do. Right?
Yeah.
But Dallo was piss poor. And the thing about Dallo on the left is, I guess myself and Reem was talking about it during the game, but kind of like he know these players. He know them. So he know that Dallo was uncomfortable on the left. So on the right hand side, you saw when who was on the right? Let me say Ahmad or Mazwari, whoever on that side, you see no pressure. But the moment Dallo got that ball, you see the trigger squeeze. And we losing the ball every time. And then now, well, we know Evans, he was more comfortable in the four in the back. So he was a bit exposed, with being three in the back. And then Dallo defending. Dallo, he wasn't holding the ball properly to support the team. He wasn't possessing the ball. So I think that we have a lot of square pegs in wrong holes, as we call it. I think we have the tools, to be honest. I know JP say, maybe we don't have the tools. I think we have the tools if we have a fit squad. I think Euro Martinez, I think that adds a bit. I think that means then you can play Mazwari in a different position, you can play Dalu in a different position, you can play Amad in a different position. If you have Shaw and we say we even have Malasia, maybe that could help that dynamic as well. But for today, and even Rashford on top, I still don't believe in that Rashford on top. I know, yeah, I don't know, what I mean, somebody might say it could work, but I definitely not seen it working, right? And then you're not seeing Hoyland working. He had a real improve, and you don't know where's the going and fit either in this system. Zirkzee, like he an island by himself in this system, right? So I'm saying, looking at the lineup and the work Amorim have on his hand, it's plenty. It's plenty. So yeah, so Rim.
Yeah, good night, everybody. Sorry for being late. Earlier, before we carry on, right? I just want to big up FC United. We went out the league.
We went out the league already?
Yeah, we went out the league. We went out the league
Nice,
today,
man.
right?
Congrats.
So we league champs. We came to the knockout. So I mean, we lost some penalties in the semis, and then we dismantle a team in the third place, fourth place, right? So yeah, so big up to the fellas on them, right? Hard work. On to today, and I think you're on team sheets, Nicole.
Yeah. Lineups and team sheets, and we kind of talk about if you want to talk about some of the performances one time, if you get into that with the lineup.
Shana, I watched the game today, and actually I left feeling real underwhelmed. Right, and I know coming into the game, everybody was expecting to see this big, drastic change. And I mean, being a realist, you're gonna know that it's not possible, at least not with our group of players, to see that kind of change so early. Yeah? But I just feel as though our team is just want to push the envelope further, just to prove how far off we are as a group. Because yes, I understand that Amorim, only had a couple of days with these players, and it's a new system they're learning. But I'm still looking at fundamentals in football, and I'm not seeing where we improve and where we could show that we're actually good at something. Yes, the system could change, but if you really look at it, and Amorim said it, he said, all right, it's a 3-4-3, but it could also be a 4-2-3-1 if you consider how the attacking formation and how the attacking position and the players go be, right? We talk about Dalo. Dalo was supposed to play a wing back, an attacking wing back, and Dalo was playing left back whole game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had an issue with the fact that Ahmad, and albeit Ahmad had an excellent game today, right? But I still find we took away, and I don't know who I mentioned, I don't know if it's JP. I find Ahmad had too much defensive work to do today.
Yeah.
When Ahmad is your biggest threat, you giving this man added defensive responsibilities. We saw how good Mazwari has been, as a wide player going forward and coming back. Why it says we limit Mazwari into that position and further limit Ahmad just to accommodate Garnacho, Rashford, and Bruno. And this is what upsetted me when I saw the lineup. We're doing everything to accommodate these three fellas on top. And this is not me saying that those fellas were woeful today. All right, we could criticize certain aspects of the performances, but I can't understand why we keep shifting everybody else just to accommodate these three players. And that's frustrating to me, knowing how good Ahmad could have been had he not had so much defensive work to do, and he had that kind of protection of a right centre back and a wing back, so he could attack because he was our only outlet, and he was coming from deep, right? Garnacho, I didn't really see nothing to say from Garnacho that wow, man. Bruno was a little more tidy in possession, but there was no X factor from Bruno. Apart from the goal, Rashford was running channels, but Rashford was saying nothing. He was offering no kind of threat. And we stick the most effective player we had out, and he was back there defending with Maswari. Now again, when Amorim was in the interview with Neville, he had asked him, well, what kind of players he saw as his wide players, whether it was wingers or defenders, and he said defenders. So in this regard, I was expecting to see Maswari and De Ligt.
Yeah, because he said it's very hard. It's very hard to teach a winger how to defend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why when I saw now you push Ahmad there, I get the impression that you do that just to accommodate the front three. Right? But you know Ahmad playing good, so you had to find a way to fit him in the team. And that was your compromise. And I find out that was a real injustice. Now Ahmad go play where he had to play just to play. Right? And he would do the best he could do. But for me, from the time I saw that, I was disappointed. Right? I was disappointed in the selection. But again, I know this is Amorim's first game. He learning the players. I'm telling you, his facial expression after the game showed me that he was not pleased. But he did say he's not going to throw his players under the bus. But I could tell you, he learned a lot about this group of players today. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I go repeat it. Yes, it's a new system, but it has fundamentals in the football that don't drastically change that I see we're still struggling with. You know what I'm saying? Simple possession football. Why everything we have to do is always a long ball over the top for somebody to run onto. I sit and I watch how Ipswich Town control that football and play intelligently, patient, and waited for the opportunities, and the opportunities came.
And he had a name of them players.
I'm telling you, the only person I knew the lap, and I didn't even realize the lap was so good. Or is it that we make him look good?
The lap at Omari Hutchison were good today.
Yeah, but
but we don't. Actually, you don't even know them, man.
Omari used to play for Arsenal. Don't forget.
No, but I feel earlier we make them men look as good as they look today. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know them.
You don't know them. You don't know them.
Like Hutchinson first goal in the Premier League,
yeah. But they play like a proper team. They play like a proper team.
And the thing about it, to fill, name day. If it wasn't for Onana, we'd be talking about Amorim first game as a loss today.
But today that'll be about 3. We're gonna get about 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Comfortably 3.
So I don't want to be in meltdown stage, because it's only Amorim's first game. But Amorim had work cut out on you, right? And I hope Amorim do be on this. This fella had to play and he had to find a way to fit this fella into the team. I don't want to hear another crap going forward. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, pick your best and most effective team to play the way you want to play. Right? Because why so today against a better team, or we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I feel any other team. And we was lucky. To be honest, we was lucky. Someone Nana says was luck.
Yeah. Especially the lap one.
There's 2 on the lap.
The first one.
The second one too. Yeah.
Sure. That one was more point blank for me.
Any other striker was there. Any other striker was put now where.
So we reach here with the comments.
All right. So Eric on the inside, thanks for joining, buddy. He said Dalo again. Yeah, boy, Dalo was poor today, boy. Dalo was real bad today. Needs to be on the right side or not on the field for me. Yeah.
I agree with this. Yeah.
Alan Lewis on the inside. Good night to you, man. Thanks for joining me. Saying, in the words of a certain coach, trust the process.
Don't do that.
I'm on World on the inside. Good night, man. Thanks for joining, buddy. Guys, don't forget to like and share the podcast. We're gonna get more people in on the Amorim era. It has started off as well as we would have wanted it to, But I mean, we still trust in the process, right, Alan? Akil on the inside. Good night to you, man. Thanks for joining. Jake Lal on the inside, he's saying these players made the motivational post-match speeches starts Ten Hag Pro Max. I didn't get a chance to hear the post-match comments from Amorim, right? But from what I read, he really didn't sound the little two comments that I read. He really didn't sound too pleased on on the performance and thing. But guys, let me talk about the whole change in system. Do you all think it was the right thing for Amorim to do, right, going into this all? Because when you look at what Ruud van Nistelrooy did, and I have the opinion that if Ruud was still there, we'd have win this game. I just might thought. I could be
for
wrong.
Sure, 100% for sure.
Right, because I think Ruud found a formula
that
was working.
For the players.
Yeah, for the players that he have. So the question to the panel is, and those in the comments as well, do you all think that Amorim should have gone straight into his 4-3-3, or he should have, taken more time to understand his players? Because again, and there's one thing earlier that Ruben said in his Man United interview that, it stood out for me, is where he made the statement is a process, but he have to, and I like the words he used. He used the term, he need to win time. I don't know if I'll hear that.
Yeah.
So just get time like that. You have to earn the time, and he used the term winning time. So he had to win games to get time.
Yeah.
So part of winning time is adapting and understanding where you have, and bit by bit bringing in your style and your philosophy and your formation. Anyway, so the question is, guys, do you think that Ten Hag? I'm hearing Ten Hag, Ruben Amorim. Muscle memory, fellas, muscle memory, right? Do you all think Ruben, should have gone with something a little more familiar to the players than on the off start with his 3-4-3? Simeon, what are we saying?
No, I mean the way he put it, that's why I like him. Right away more than Ten Hag. He can explain things to you in a way you understand. Where you can support. I mean, make no. Ten Hag tried to build his team. Try to go back and play the counter-attacking way, and we see what happened with him. Year 3, still struggling. So might as well, play a system. I mean, and go from there. I mean, and what I like about him is, he believes in his system. He ain't trying to, make it fit one player or next. Like my system works. That's why I know that's what we're gonna do. It's my way. And once you hear that a player, okay, well, it's one way we gotta play. And from the get go, okay, well, this is what expected. You expect to be coach. So I think that we gotta play this system right away. We gotta find out who could play the system, who want to play the system, and who can't. I mean, the issue we have is guys will get excited and they'll play good for 1 minute or 5 minutes or 80 seconds, and then they'll all the old bad tendencies come in. This way right away who can play system, who want to play system, and who will do it consistently. So let's play that system and see who we need. But I'll say this, about the whole, what Karim say, like you have to earn your wins. Right away, he understand that he can't earn wins with them strikers. And how could have earned wins, but he did have no strikers. If Amorim go in with Xerxes and support Rasmus, Rashford, that's a coin toss. But if you don't have strikers to finish the chances you have, you can't earn and win. So I want to see what he do with them strikers in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I just want to touch on something that Simeon said there, because If the Gokarex, whoever his name is, if he was in that team today earlier, he scored a brace. No Reem, I tell you, yes, it had to, because if you look at that team, if you look at even Sporting, even when they play City, he is so good on the counter, right? That when he wins the ball, because at times Garnacho win the ball, at times Russia win the ball, when they are ahead of the defenders, and they slow down and they fall down and all kind of thing. I can remember Garnacho he already beaten the last defender, go into goal, and he just slow down and pass back the ball. To me, that they have a proper striker in that system, and he has scored 2 today. But anyway, go ahead.
I get what Nico is saying, definitely. But also, Nico, I think if Gaio Carrez was in this team, he would be starving for service as well, too, right? But just to Areem's original question, I'm quite surprised you asked that, Areem, because earlier you said, we have we're accommodating for the likes of Bruno and Rashford and Marcus up top, right? Why the likes of Mazraoui and Ahmad are not playing their rightful positions so that we can get more out of them, right? So did he do the right thing in playing the 3-4-3 today? Yes, he did, because he needs to implement into these players. Is my say or is the highway, right? Too much times over the last couple of seasons, we've been trying to accommodate players just for the sake of it, right? Is either you play this system, you play this specific position as well, or highway, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There are players who will excel further up the pitch, definitely, like Ahmad, if he was to play next to Bruno behind like a Hoyland or a Rashford, whatever, right? But I think that implementing is funny because, not funny, people have compared Amorim to a young Mourinho. Mourinho doesn't take shit. He doesn't, right? So at the end of the day, you want Amorim to come in here and say, you know what? You guys are doing, you want Amorim to say, there's a reason you guys are in 13th position, right? Let's try something new. We're going to try my way, right? Now, after 4 or 5 games, or even going into like January, February, right? Amorim has to decide which players are right for my system and which players are not, right? He claims that he's not going to be shopping in the January transfer window. We'll see. By the end of the day, Amorim has came here to implement a 3-4-3 system, right? These players have to learn. These players have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense, right? Now, I'm glad he played it today. There's some players that I don't think were in their rightful positions today, as you guys mentioned, the likes of Mazraoui and Ahmad, but they still played well, right? So hopefully in the next 2 home games, I would definitely like to see Mazraoui as that right wing back. Maybe Delit. Who else? No. Delit, Euro. If Martinez is fit, then sure, play Martinez in that left center back position. But yeah, playing this 3-4-3 and will expose these players. Let's put it that way. It will expose to show you who has the IQ to play certain positions, who has the IQ to listen to the manager, but who also doesn't have the IQ and will do their own thing, right? So I'm glad he implemented his 3-4-3, and I hope he does it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think today was a good day to do that. Because as somebody, I think Phil would have said today was like a training,
a serious friendly.
Yeah. A serious friendly.
Yeah.
And most of you want the points. Today is a good day to gauge your players, because as I was telling Reems, I am 100% sure that Rashford is a training champ. In training, I sure Rashford don't miss. In training, Rashford 10 men apart.
Yeah, remember, what's his name by oh gosh, the professor who was here
Andre Pereira, the preseason parallel.
No, Ragnick.
Yeah.
Remember when Ragnick came out and said Rashford, he can't understand what's going on in games because the player he's seen in training is not the same player he's seen in games.
That was it.
Yeah, so, that what Nico saying, yeah.
Yeah, so to me, Amorim see the same thing. right? So now he had to start him in centre forward, but at the end of the day, men will get make out. Men will get
Yeah.
make out, and I think today was a good audition to test players now. Okay, we're gonna play the system anyhow you take it, we're gonna play it. So here what? Let we feel it out. You know, and I don't think it have a much easier game than today to feel it out. You know, because let me say if we had City today or Arsenal today, we might have get
Or
5.
City. We might have beat City.
no, but then remember City does City does have an extra
You're hearing Nico say.
motivation.
Nico so wicked. Nico know that City lose 5 games on the bounce, and
5
you
in
think
a
we
row.
would get 5.
No,
Wow,
no, but
wow,
what's
wow,
it?
boy.
But still, there's we up for United now. You know.
Yeah.
So if we did play City today with our 3 in the back earlier, or Arsenal or Liverpool today, we'll get about 9. And here was saying, right? Amorim get 9 on the first day earlier. It's all downhill from there. Now. So I was saying today was a good day to test it. You didn't lose. Now you have a good idea with where you're working with going into 2 home games back to back. I don't think that anything much to lose. You lose 2 points, but overall I think you would have gained more with the information you would have gathered on the players.
JP, I want to ask you something, right? And then we could make the rounds on the panel, right?
Yeah.
One of the things Amorim said, is that we will see an idea, right? The asked for what we would see in your first game. He said he will see an idea. I got Paul in a little position here, right? Anybody see an idea? What was the idea? Let's see.
Nah, me see
No,
no
I see
idea,
it.
boy. You
No,
see
I
it
see
today,
it.
boy, you're good boy. Like it was too
No, I
chaotic
see
for me
it.
to see idea, boy.
No, I see it. I see the idea now, because
Mhm.
you're seeing what he wants to implement, but the players not doing it. You see what he wants to do. Because
In the second half,
look at
in the
the
second half.
changes. Look
Yeah.
at the changes he made. And the thing is, he didn't change personnel second half, and he just changed positions. So he put Bruno over where Garnacho was. And that is what started to solidify that side of it. Because Garnacho wasn't really helping out, and it's Bruno who started to help out Dallo on that side. So that simple change he made there alone when they came back out was something that I saw from him was like, all right, so you're seeing he about something when he brought in the changes he made in the whole. When he started to bring on the 2 strikers, you see that he wanted to win the game. There's a way he wants the team to play, but they didn't execute it. Because I think we saw it in the goal. How we score the goal is how we expect them to play. That is what he wants from the team. But they didn't execute the plan. Right? I think Amorim is a student of the game. That's what I get from him. He's one of those managers who learn, and I hoping that with him, if he realizes this formation not working, that he will make the change. Because I think the problem that United has had since Fergie that is stubborn managers who stuck in their ideas. And if you are students of the game, you have to be able to realize if something not working, particularly with the players that you have. And he will have to pinpoint that early on. So you get a test today against Ipswich. Ipswich look like a real proper team. I look at highlights from some other games. Brighton, the way Brighton ball and the football Brighton playing, the kind of football I see Wolves play this weekend. So, it's our teams that are wrong where we are, that if we come up against them playing like this, it'll be bad licks. So I hoping that this was a lesson for him today, that if these players are already grasping the system, maybe when they work on it in training, maybe moments in games we could go off into this formation, but let me stick with something a little more comfortable, because as he said, he had to earn it, so he had to win games. He had to win games, but I saw something from it today, but the players just didn't execute. And he said that, he said that after the match. Basically, he said that players were not, they were thinking too much. When they on the ball, they're thinking too much. When they off the ball, they're thinking too much about the position. So he said that after the game. So there's the players who didn't execute.
All right.
But could you blame the players? I mean, because I guess
No,
if you're saying
no, not really, because
because you had a
for them get one
deprogram,
session.
so yeah, you had a deprogram now to reprogram, you know.
Yeah, and
So
that's what I tell Real Madrid game. Like I
yeah,
think we have the players who could play possession-based football now, but they're so programmed to just boom
yeah,
football, just get the ball and play it up the road that they don't know how now to think.
yeah.
Let me and that's what he meant. They were thinking too much and not playing proper natural football.
Yeah.
When I walk cut out we. We get some comments and then I'll go to Phil. Right. James Scott on the inside Simba here. Pleasant good night to you, man. Thanks for joining. Saying I keep saying Dallo is filled by. Right. Who was he good under? No way. I think you've been a little harsh on Dallo. You know, I think
He got on
Dallo.
the right side. He got on the right side.
Yeah, I think Dallo has been consistent and solid since the start of the season. You know, and it's only
Yeah.
since we started kind of switch him around and play him on the left is when he dropped off a little bit, you know. Yeah, Jake Lau saying here he was good under AC Milan. Right. James saying here also I can't see the drastic upheaval working in our Amorim's favor. I believe he should gradually introduce, right? But the team needed a culture shock, and I think that's what he intended with the change. All right. Akil saying here, no time like the present, implement it and see what you are working with in terms of the players. However, I think he should have a plan B.
Definitely.
All right. But he was never good. He probably was good to get by, but not Man United good, not top notch. I don't know who you're talking about here.
Right, Dallo.
Dallo? Okay. Eric saying here, Amorim said in his first interview, whoever doesn't fit the system, they're out. Let's see. But you see, the thing about it, right, is all that talk well and good because you keep hearing reports now that, you know, he do have a big transfer budget for January to focus on the players that you have. So, you know, how all of these, you know, grand statements fit in that.
Yeah.
You know, this is who you have to work with, so get the best out of them. So, in my opinion, fellas, I'll be honest with you. Yes, while I agree that you want to implement your style, but it's a reason why I mentioned the quote that he himself mentioned verbatim. He have to win time, and for you to win time, and this is why I think who mentioned it? Is it James? Gradually introduce it, right? Gradually, I believe you should gradually introduce this three at the back because at the end of the day, if these players can't fit it, and you keep realizing that these fellas are not, and the board not gonna give you no war chess in the next transfer window, then what you doing yourself? You're shooting yourself in your own leg, right? Phil, did you see any idea as per Amorim in his first game?
I can be real with you. It's not really a fair question to ask after one game.
Well, I guess repeating what the man saying or seeing after one game, what the man saying.
Yeah. But he also said that we will be playing wing backs at the wing back position as well too, right? So, there was a little bit of an idea where you definitely want the players to be comfortable on the football, and you can see an idea when you can see how he reacts when certain players do certain stuff, right? When Bruno was giving away the football, when we were losing the ball in midfield, we saw his reaction with regards to him, like being upset because I guess his idea was to be a possession-based team, and that's not what we were today, right? We were hooving the ball and hoping for other players to run on to it, right? So I didn't see it today, but that could be down to the players just trying to shake off the rust. And I don't want to say rust. I want to say in terms of like it probably is just the first game and they have to take some time to adapt, right? But if we come back to the same question, let's say middle of January, early February, and ask if we're seeing any ideas. Actually, I'll put it to this here right now. If we have to ask the same question in a January or February, that means it's not working. Let me put it that way, right? I'm going to go back to Ten Hag. When Ten Hag in his first season said that, there'll be no favoritism and that he's going to be a bit ruthless. Amorim, and I know all of us can say the exact same thing. Talk is cheap, right? At the end of the day, we want to see what you can do on the. We want to see you talking to the players and the players implement what you talk to them about on the pitch, right? Because at the end of the day, the manager is more expendable than the players, right? So let's see what happens. To answer your question, though, Reem, the answer is yes and no. In terms of no, I didn't see it being implemented today, but I can kind of see what he wants the players to do, but the players aren't listening, right? So, yeah.
I mean, we were talking about the basics. We talked about the fundamentals of football, right? When you try and coach a team, a new formation, and they can't even handle the fundamentals of football, the possession part of football, just keeping the ball, playing smart passes, 1-2 passes. The fundamental. I mean, I'm not a big, I don't play any big time football, but these simple things. You don't let a man run through midfield, your midfield, when it's two you guys there. How many times we talk about losing the ball, having a man run directly through your midfield, through to your players, being allowed to pick a pass? That happened again today. And the same thing we keep coming back to. Some things go beyond, formation and coaching. It's and I think our insight is these guys. You shouldn't have to coach some things, but it's hard to implement your formation when these guys don't have even the basics down. I mean, can you believe? I saw it today. I was like, is this man really running through two of our players in midfield? I mean, how many times have we seen this? And they look at each other like, should we bring him down? And by the time they make the mind up, the ball already passed through our lines. It's like, how are we, 12, 15 games in? Another manager.
Just to add on to what Simeon's saying, when you're making a good point about fundamentals, right? I could take it outside of football. I work in IT, and I get hired for an IT job, right? My manager or my director shouldn't be teaching me how to turn on a computer, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He should be at least training me on the software and the policies that the company has with regards to IT. He shouldn't be telling me how to plug in a laptop or how to turn on a computer. And that's what Simeon is trying to say. We shouldn't be telling players how to shield the football and all that. These are just basic fundamental stuff that these players, these professionals who are getting paid what some of us make in a year, in a week. Think about it.
In a day.
Or in a day. Thank you.
Yeah. So for Simon, you finish your point?
One more thing to say, to add on to what Phil say, and what I want from Amorim, as a manager, they always say he always get what he check. So as long as he have to keep checking and following that. Don't let it be don't let things happen and it be go unchecked. So correct. You gotta correct those things right away. You can't let it with Ten Hag, you saw things happen in one game and it happened in another game and another game. You have to check it and you have to pull it for the side and say, hey, don't do that. And it seemed like he was doing that today. We could see if it's working, but he has to check these bad behaviors and stop it right now. Because otherwise, he ain't gonna last long. I keep going back to them strikers. While you trying to get this formation working, and you're trying to win games, if the men can make a simple pass, the men can hold the ball up, the man can't find the right spot in the box to be available. We don't win many games. I mean, like you said, we struggle with formation. Then first have to do these simple things. They have to put the ball on goal, on frame, somewhere, not in his stands. Like little things like that. I mean,
Yeah. So, I think everybody had some real good points, and I think this point kind of cements in terms of knowing the basics. At least we should be able to do the basics properly, without being trained. Um, Also, for me, why I would say that maybe it's a bit too early to look for the identity that Reem was asking about, because I think this, even from the moment that Amarin would have gotten the job to now, I think it would have been a whirlwind for him. And I think even he spoke about the amount of interviews he has to do. He said this is the first time he ever had to do so much interviews, and I was seeing something about he's going to ask to change that because he has to be given time to work on the team.
This is I'm sorry, but they didn't meet any beast. You can't come here and ask for Sporting Lisbon treatment.
But then too, we had to realize
I hear what you're saying.
the work that the team need. And if the team coming first, that was saying. So in my mind, in Woodward and them time, them really care about the commercial side of the business. So all them interviews and everything is dealing with the commercial side of the business. But if we realize where the team is at this point in time and the work that the team needs, then we had to sacrifice something now. And if we had to sacrifice and put other things in place to make the team priority, then I can agree with that. And then when we reach the level, because this club has dropped so far already that we don't even know how far it really dropping now. This team is a mid-table team. Manchester United is a mid-table team. And if it is that we want to get this team back up, then we had to sacrifice some things now. And to me, the commercial aspect of the club had to suffer a little bit. So what I'm saying is this has been a whirlwind period for him. And also the team, remember the information going to the team, and I think would have been a lot. I think they would have been trying to implement it. So I think that's a bit too early to really say that, maybe we see nothing from Amorim, we're not seeing what he's talking about. I think it definitely, as Phil would have said, it needs time. I mean, if everything is settled, all the dust to settle, I think it's a lot of dust in the air. I think it's a lot to settle for us to really see what he's trying to implement. Simeon, I feel like you're urgent to say something.
No, I mean, I think I don't think he see what he was talking about yet. Like I said, I don't think he, he might come out in the second half by himself and sit down in a corner. Nobody, just like this.
Yeah, he's gonna bite them finger. I know he's gonna bite them finger too. Yeah.
No, not good. I get full in training. That's how to be it, right? No, for me, the thing is this, because I mean, when I listen to how Ten Hag spoke before, and I was just reading some little quotes from after the game, is a realization. It's like a realization he come to. And he was, and this is it, because you're talking a particular way based on names and reputations, and then when you actually get into it and you actually see what you have to work with is when it is now want to come and temper expectations. You understand? Because he say things like in the press conference, I believe I could win things with this team. These are good players, and I remember Ten Hag be going through the same process.
Dream internet kind of freezing up.
Yeah, and you hear Ten Hag saying things like he can't play the Ajax brand here. You know what I'm saying? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, So I waiting, I guess waiting.
He's still waiting.
We waited as well.
I mean, I back in waiting to hear Amorim come and start to talk and start to deluded nonsense, right? Because dealing with this group is man.
Right, yeah. Just as touch on what Reem said, right? The comparison with Ten Hag and Amorim. Yeah, Ten Hag said that he can't play the Ajax way here, but the reason we hired you, Ten Hag, back in the day because of what you implemented at Ajax, right? So we want you to implement that same brand of football, that philosophy that made Ajax so successful, not only in the Eredivisie, but also in the Champions League as well, too, to Manchester United. Versus fast forward now, Ruben Amorim is going to implement his system. The reason that about 7 or 8 clubs were after Ruben Amorim is because of the way he plays with Sporting Lisbon, his philosophy as well too, right? And that's the reason why Manchester United hired him, right? So for Ruben Amorim to revert to like a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, when we saw you successful in the Champions League with a 3-4-3 versus Man City, and having 100% record with Sporting, it'll be kind of like counterproductive, right? So.
Let me just get some comments here, right? So, Jiklal saying here, route to Leicester City. Here we go. Yeah, and this fella, what's his name again? Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
Steve Cooper is second.
Yeah. And it's saying here, it's not fair to judge him and the team after one game and 1 week of training. All right. I was looking at patterns and trends. That is all, right? And the saying, I don't think this was his favored team only because short week and player availability. Yeah, that's also a good consideration.
Yeah.
Mylon on the inside, the night man, thanks for joining. Right, I can say I agree with Nico. And with success, the commercial side will benefit as well. I think what's kept Man United
Relevant?
sort of kind of relevant is our commercial, position, right? If we were not as commercial as we were,
we have brand.
Then nobody will care about Man United, and so I don't think you can get away from this. And I be honest with you, while I agree, Nico did make a good point, but you have to understand when you come to Man United, this is what you have to do, and you have to be able to handle all these demands for interviews and still be able to coach a team. That is part of it, right? So he could try, but these commitments and responsibilities, I don't think he could get away from that.
I think based on the interview that Ruben Amorim had with Gary Neville and with the press conference, he sounds like he did quite a bit of research before coming to Manchester United. It sounds like it, right? From the way he was talking, it almost sounded like he was part of the Manchester United backroom staff even before he was hired, which is not the case, right? So definitely, you got to give him time, right? You got to.
Yeah. Chef on the inside, good night, man. Thanks for joining, buddy. So, guys, here are talking points because I want to wrap it.
So I want
No?
one talking about Reem. So, what is your thoughts on Zutsky in this system? Anybody?
Well,
I say except Reem because Reem is speaking.
No, I mean the thought is great, but the actual application is trash. I mean, the player he was supposed to be would excel in that position, but the way he playing, he can't excel nowhere. So
I don't know if he's trying too hard. I wonder if he's trying too hard because when he came on today, it felt like he was trying too hard. So I don't know if he just need to settle down because I just wondered, like, so he real fooled us in the first few games where we talk about his link-up play and the touches, and I know how everybody is calling for him to play behind the striker. He fooled us so badly, or is it that his confidence get get damaged so much that he find it harder to come back now. It's like I don't know because
Hmm.
this man had a very clear shot today, but and the thing is he did well to get in the position, so that's why I say I feel like he's trying too hard.
Too hard.
Because he did well to get in the position and then he shoot like a defender, the man lean
Yes,
back.
boy. Oh, good.
Like a secondary school defender too.
You know it's no for real.
Yeah.
For real.
So I hoping I just like with Amorim, I hoping that Amorim could come in and really work with players because I still say Amorim is himself has to be adaptable just like the players have to be adaptable. So if they train the back, because if you're looking at the type of players that we have, Garnacho is not really that type to play behind the striker because he keep going wide. And then when he go wide, what Dalo doing? So it's a kind of confusion. He's supposed to stay a little more narrow. So it have a lot of adjusting that take place in his team, and I'm hoping that the players learn to make the adjustments and Amorim himself learn to make the adjustments with working with what he has and improving players because I think that is also a sign of a great coach if they could come in and work with players and you see the players improving because we had too many players who we bring and they decline. So that we hope we get somebody now where we see Zirkzee come, he decline on that Ten Hag. Let me see if Amorim could come and bring him back. He's a young man still. We see something there. We don't know if it was he just put the best forward and then revert to wherever it is. So let me see what Amorim could do with players like that. That's what I want to see with this team now, and that's what I'm excited for this period here to know if something could really happen now where we actually get somebody who could work with the team. We actually get somebody who not just stubborn and could improve on and make the players better too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it isn't a case where when we said 5 minutes ago you just want Amron to come in and not be teaching these players the basic. I hope Xerxes isn't one of those players, right? Because I don't want to say I have lost all faith in Xerxes, but I just don't get excited when I see Xerxes on the football. I just don't. Right?
Vai chover no tudo, vai.
I know what you're talking about with that stupid look. He does. But yeah, I mean, when Xerxes gets the ball, is like, okay, well. And then when I saw Xerxes in on goal today, I actually stood up on my couch and was like, okay, let me see what this guy's gonna do, and it's good.
Hey, that remind me of JP the South Zone Intercol final with the defender quick the last kick for naps.
Yes.
Hey, woo! That'll take me right back to there.
Yes.
But is it possible? I'll hear me, right? Because I know it's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it possible? Because I mean, and JP made the point about the player we saw at Bologna, and I believe that player there, right? And I just wonder if this step he played within himself. He played within himself, right? He not taking the kind of control of his own destiny, and how to play it by. Like he don't want to take responsibility of the responsibility. Okay, well then.
No, I mean, before we say anything, I want to say I want to shout out McKenna and the work he's doing with Ipswich because I think I was happy it was going to be your first game, and I told him I really thought about it's not good when your first game is against a coach that knows more about your players than you do.
Yeah.
And as you watch the game, you can see how he knew them first can handle that press.
Yeah.
And the way them men from Ipswich was running. Them men was running hard. Like them men was. We can't get our players to play hard. And then we have Tuanzebe. You know, we forget about Tuanzebe, but nice seeing him play some good football too. But I think McKenna really had his team well coached for this game.
Yep, for sure.
Eric Senior Ten Hag has spoken similarly to Amorim, but he buckled under pressure after heavy defeats. All right. Eric also saying here, do you all think Mason Mount will do well as one of the 10s in Amorim's system?
Possibly.
Well, I think the question you got to ask is, do we think Mason Mount will stay fit first? Right? Once Mason Mount can stay fit, then I can answer that question, because Mason Mount can look good in 1 or 2 games, and all of a sudden Mason Mount is out for 2 or 3 weeks. It's like, you start all over again, right? So
it was good to see today Luke Shaw getting some minutes on his belt. No, but at least he brought some solidity, as much as of course, you know what I mean. I think Evans really struggled, and I think when Shaw came on, you saw where pressure was relieved on that left hand side. So I think Shaw came on and did well. So let me see how that goes.
My boy Malacia back on the bench. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah.
We get some minutes.
Yeah, I think we have some players. If as long as fit, we might see a better representation of what Ten Hag. Ten Hag Amorim want to give us.
Yeah. Before we wrap it, guys, we want to big up JP. Yeah. JP was called to the bar. Big up yourself, man.
Nice, man. But I actually thought I was talking about the intercall.
Oh.
Okay, nice, man. Congrats, man.
Yeah. Me and JP get called to the bar, but 2 different bars, right? So
yeah, fellas, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Good job, man.
I think from what this point, I think from what we've heard over the last.
I don't know if I hear.
I think the comment. I think the common thing we've all said in the last hour and 10 minutes is that Ruben Amorim has his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
For what I've heard you guys talked about in the last hour, whenever we have been given a topic by Reem or Nico, we always say in the statement, Ruben Amorim has his work cut out for him. And it's true. Because at the end of the day, this system will expose some of these players, right? Also moving from Sporting Lisbon to the EPL. Forget Manchester United. Moving to the EPL, you will be bombarded with interviews, whether you win or whether you lose, right? But I hope he understands the job that he has in front of him. And yeah, there is a lot of talk about Alphonso Davies as well. I would definitely love him at Manchester United. Apparently, there's rumors that he will go to Real Madrid on a free next year, but we'll wait and see, right?
But why would now Real Madrid to come Manchester United? That doesn't make no sense.
But players have done it before. No sense. But it's not the first time players have turned down Real Madrid. So many players have turned down Real Madrid.
For Manchester United, who was he?
Euro.
Yeah. You Lenny Euro. Lenny Euro. Turn
them sell Euro something real good, boy. Because right? No, I think Euro too. With Euro, because Real Madrid is with to take him on a free. You know, he wanted to play out this season, and then next season give him a free. I think that is with the bargaining power, you know, from United, and then had the talk of they would have frozen him out of the team for this season, you know, so that kind of force his hand. But otherwise, that ain't happening. But
we'll see. You never know, because Real Madrid ain't playing the best. Kylian Mbappe looking like a flop right now. So we'll see. But yeah, just to end off with regards to Amorim and Manchester United, it's it's a good first game, and by good I mean you kind of see the limitations of what some of the players can do. You see what the 3-4-3 system will expose, and you get your first game at Manchester United away, right? The way the players play away versus how the players could be playing at Old Trafford in front of a crowd of 70K. Because we got two home games coming up, Europa and then also Everton, could be different, right? So to start off your first game with a draw away from home, it's not the end of the world, right? If you can go and get some momentum and get these players firing in the next two home games, that could build some momentum for another away game that we have. I think our next away game is probably Arsenal, right? So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Reem, you on freeze?
Yeah.
I guess not.
Boy.
Boy.
Here, man.
Yeah, we hear you now. So we wrap it quick.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it,
Yeah.
Nico.
So
Wrap
again, yeah. Yeah. So again, I think we had, you know, I mean, some real strong talking points today, and I think as Phil kind of wrap it up, still early days, you know, and it's just to see where we, you know, where this result and the performance take us in the next few games coming up, which we know is thick and fast. And yeah, you know, on to the next one. You know, I don't think as much as we didn't lose today, or we didn't win, I didn't felt like we lose. I personally felt like, you know, we gain something, we gain information. You know, we you know, going into the next game, we'll be better prepared. Amorim have more ideas, understand his team more. So I think as much as we didn't win, we didn't lose. You know, and I think we'd gain more in terms of information than points. Yeah. So so I think that is the day. So Reem, until the next one, you can wrap it.
Boy, Reem doing the mannequin challenge.
Well, you go on again.